leader. A fuel tank at Gaza's electricity plant was hit, as were a TV station and a mosque. Palestinian officials said 100 civilians were killed. 10 Israeli soldiers also died. Now, the UN has launched a probe into Israel's military response and whether it has committed war crimes. We're joined by Hillel Neuer. He is the executive director of UN Watch, which is a non-governmental organization created to monitor the performance of the United Nations. Hillel, welcome.
Thank you, Sandy. Pleasure to be here.
Now, I know critics of Israel, especially the UN, are also accusing Israel of committing war crimes, as I said, and violating international law. From your perspective, have war crimes been committed by Israel in this conflict?
No, I think Israel is exercising its right to self-defense against over 2,000 rockets fired at its major cities, towns, and villages. As I think Canadians, I'm from Montreal, and I think if Canadians would imagine, it's hard to imagine if you live in a country like Canada, America, or even Europe, to live in the Middle East where there are Islamic extremists who not only oppress their women, their gays, their minorities, but also seek war and seek martyrdom. If Canadians would imagine terrorists taking over parts of upstate New York and firing rockets from Buffalo or Plattsburgh at Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, nonstop, every day, in the middle of the city, I think Canadians would agree that the government of Canada, the Army of Canada, would have a right to defend itself and to go after the rocket launchers. And that's exactly what happened in this case. Hamas, unprovoked, fired thousands of rockets day after day at Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, Ashkelon, and Israel is trying to stop the rockets. It's not attacking random Palestinian cities. It's going after the rockets, and it's trying to find the rocket launchers. And also a new thing, Sandy, which was not well known before, is that for the past 10 years, the United Nations, including Ban Ki-moon and other high officials, demanded that Israel allow cement in Gaza, even though Israel warned about what Hamas, the terrorist group that controls Gaza, would do with that cement. And now we see Israel has uncovered over 30 terror tunnels that were dug with kilometers and kilometers of high-grade cement with electricity designed to funnel Hamas terrorists into Israel and to engage in spectacular terrorist attacks against Israeli cities.
All right, Hillel. Let's look at the other side, and that is the loss of life, civilians, mainly women and children. The number is 1,000 or more. What about those people who have died as a result of this?
Absolutely, Sandy. You know, there have been a regrettable amount of deaths on both sides, and the numbers are much higher in Gaza, and there's a reason for it. The reason is that it's hard to imagine, but Hamas is a cynical organization that is counting on the United Nations to react in the way that they have, which is Hamas tells its people, we have video recordings where they tell their people, come onto rooftops where they know that Israel is going to strike a certain building because rockets are there. And the United Nations acknowledged last week that they found rockets, Hamas placed rockets in UNRWA schools. So we know, and Patrick Martin of the Globe and Mail talked about being in a school and a few meters away, rockets, long-range rockets were being fired. So the reason why we have the casualties is only because Hamas commits double war crimes. Not only do they target civilians in Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and Ashkelon, but they tell their own civilians, their own people, to climb onto buildings where they know that rockets are hidden, so that when Israel responds, they'll have casualties to display to the world to win legitimacy as they see it in the eyes of the world. And sadly, the United Nations Human Rights Council is playing into that game, although it should be noted that the European Union, not a single country, voted for that resolution. Canada, the US, and many others condemned it for being one-sided, as the EU said, for being imbalanced and inaccurate. And I think any resolution that fails to condemn Hamas, which that resolution did, is a completely absurd resolution.
Okay. Hillel Neuer, Executive Director of UN Watch, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.